Hi, this is Ariel Andersson, and here we are, back in a beautiful place. This gorgeous fig tree out here is just starting to sprout, and it makes me think of you so much. I think that is it. Winter has been bubbling all kinds of things for you inside. And maybe there's been frustrations with your partner, with your kids, with yourself. Why am I feeling behind? Well, we're never that behind. We're only as behind as we think we are, right? There's this sort of perception of where we should be. Anybody who's been listening knows the S word. I cannot stand because it's just creating stress where it doesn't need to. And who says? Who says? Except for us and somebody's idea of what should be. Oh, that darn S word. Anyway, so here we are, budding, waiting to explode into spring with whatever it is that's just calling you. What is that thing for you? So the last video, we were looking at creating space because you can't create something if you don't have any space. Have you ever gone to your kitchen and there've just been crap everywhere? Now, in our current living situation, that happens a lot. Somebody else has been doing something and there's bits of vegetables and knives and packages of things. There's no way you're going to create a meal with that. Or you've gone to a desk, a shared space, and there are papers and books and there's no place for you to be. Or how about the couch? How many people dump all their things on the couch? You want to relax, kind of just breathe a little bit, and there's no space. So we all know what it's like when you come into a moment and you are ready to create, but that moment isn't quite going to happen yet because, especially in family life, the reality can often be that there isn't space for it. Now, it can be metaphorical space. We are working a lot. We have put too many things on our to-do list. Our kids, our family, our friends even. There's a lot of demands that can be pulling on us, and we have to come to a place where we create space. So last week we were talking a little bit about that, how to create space, or that you need to do that. And the other piece that we're moving into now is, what is it that you want to create space for? Now, some of you might already be clear, maybe on your path before you even came into this world or this moment of I want to create. Before you even became a parent, you realized that in fact you had a business, you were writing a book, you were on a good path with your partner, your health was doing really well. There was something that you were on a path about, and that was going strong, and then something sort of shifted. Now, that happens a lot, right? I mean, it's normal, it can happen. It doesn't mean you want to stay there or need to stay there. It's okay if that's where you've been. You don't have to beat yourself up about it. That's where you are, that's where you've been. Now you're here, and you're ready. That's why you found this video. Or maybe your friend sent you this video because they realize you've been struggling. Well, so let's do something about it. The truth about everything is that that what ends up happening is the frustration mounts. And even when we think we've got it handled, when we're spread so thin, things start to happen. You might notice that you are a little short-tempered or having short patience with your partner, your kids, yourself, your friends, your life. And I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about. What I'm talking about with you is because I'm not only a coach, I may know all the steps that we need to take, but the truth is that if I am not in balance, then the world around feels differently. It feels different. My experience is different. What happens around me, it just starts to ripple out. Now, the big piece is that when I don't have space for what I need or I'm feeling buzzing about, then I start to get a little bit grumpy without even necessarily realizing that I'm doing that. And it's not about being unconscious, because I do meditate and I do pay attention, but there are moments when you just need to create those boundaries and that space for yourself before you can expect anyone else to. And as well, when you start to do that, when you've made that space and then you start to realize more clearly, because there's space to even breathe and think, what it is that you want to do, you start to be more clear with the people around you. Like your children, when you say, mommy needs 10 minutes. Now someone will say, oh, my kids will never give that to me. Well, I've been there too. But there are things we can do. Get them going on some painting or the occasional Netflix. It doesn't have to be all the time. Maybe you ask your partner to give you a few minutes so you can focus. I find often that if I really have something I need to focus massively on, you have to know your time of day. So today, now that we've created some space, I want to come into what to do in that space. So I want you to look at, last week you were looking at how you could create some space, where you could take away some things to make space for what you want to create, right? So by now, you will know where that space is, and you know when your energy is highest. So today we'll take that to the next step, right? We look at, so my space, the best energy level I have, the most clarity I have is at the beginning of the day. That's for me. Now, I wasn't a morning person. It's not 6 a.m. for me. Everybody's different. For me, it's more, say, 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. And then the clarity slowly wanes as the day goes. Now, doing your caffeine, your chai might be how you wake up, but it doesn't necessarily always bring you the clarity that you need. So I would come into looking at where that space and time is. And now with that time, I would love for you to do an activity that speaks to you as far as digging in a little deeper. I would start just with the simplest thing, which is brainstorming. Now I would do it in your phone and your computer, wherever you think makes the most sense for you to be able to come back to it. Notebooks are great because often your kids will have a reaction when they see you being on the phone or the computer, a stronger reaction than when it's in a notebook. The problem is when you're writing in a notebook, even though I love the feeling of a pen across the paper, the problem can be that it sort of gets lost. So whatever it is that you have in your hand the most, if you have a little notebook and you don't really do your phone as much, or you need something that you can look at with your kids having a reaction, then have your little notebook, but make sure you actually come back to it. Is it something that you keep on your nightstand, you do in the morning as your partner gets the kids, in their clothes or motivates them towards breakfast, whatever it is, to take a few minutes and start with really looking at just opening the space to be present for what it is that you are being called to do. So if you're not clear, and even if you are clear, I would love for you just to take a moment with me. The sun is going down, and I'm thinking about you. If you can hear it, there are hummingbirds buzzing around, reminding us that how fast the world can be, how fast we think we have to zip around. I think it's perfect symbolically. These guys were just zipping around, and it reminded me of how often we as mothers, maybe there'll be fathers too feeling this way, but we buzz around and there's so much we think we have to do. Feel. Oh, I'm going to town, so I need to do this, and this, and I need to do this and this and this. But I encourage you to make more space. Where you would have done 3 things, do 2. And in that space, sit in the car, have a chai, have a lemonade, your water, whatever it might be. Take a little bit more time to walk to that place. Give yourself that space and come into what it is that you are meant to be doing, because I know that clarity is going to bring you so much joy and ripple out in the other places in your life. And I can't wait for you to feel that, because it starts to affect so many things in beautiful ways. So let's just start with as we're wrapping up here, let's start your manifestation, your clarity journey with just a short moment with some breaths. Okay, so if you're driving, of course, don't close your eyes. If you aren't driving, if you're doing something else, just take a moment to pause. It's just going to be a couple minutes. Hopefully your feet are on the ground. Hold on to the counter if you're standing there. Sit down if you can. If you're in the kitchen, whatever. Doesn't matter where you are. Just take a moment, and I want you to do 3 deep breaths with me. Anybody who's listened, you know I love my 3 deep breaths. It does change everything, and it brings oxygen to the brain. It helps with the clarity, and I would love for you to have a couple sips of water afterwards to bring that to your brain as well, kind of clarify and cleanse and open things up. So take a deep breath with me and exhale. If you gently want to close your eyes now, you can, or not. And inhale again. And exhale through your mouth, letting go of whatever you don't need today. Inhale again. Exhale. And just for a moment, I want you to imagine more space around you. I want you to imagine that there's time enough in the day, and that whatever you're meant to be doing, not only inside your parenting, but inside your life, that thing that's calling you, that is going to align your joy, your energy, your breathing space, you ask the universe to bring it to you, to remind you, to enhance that knowledge of what you are meant to be doing right now inside of parenting for you. That is your top priority. What are those? Is it one thing? Is it more than one thing? What comes up? Don't limit it. Let it just come. You don't have to push it. Just let what comes come. And if it doesn't come, that's okay too. Just make that space for it. And now, gently relax your shoulders, open your eyes, look around. What's there? Who's there? And remember that you can always come back to that place of taking 3 deep breaths to shift everything. And even if you have ideas right now that are popping up, write it down somewhere in your phone, in a notepad, whatever it is that's gonna get your attention again. If this is the morning that you're doing this, or the evening before you go to bed, then maybe you leave it by your bed. If you have a notebook. And just allow the space. Say, okay, universe, whatever I believe in, bring me what I need to know. I'm receptive. And that's it. I'm receptive. It's enough. You're making the space, and now you're ready to receive. And what comes next, it just gets better. Have a beautifully imperfect day.